What is up guys, it's Solheim here, back again with another Wrath of the Lich King video. So I've been lucky enough to be invited into the Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta, and since I'm now in the beta, I'm going to be testing out quite a few things. Let me know if there's anything specific you want me to test out in the comment section down below. I have tested out a couple of things that I'll talk about today in this video. One of them is, for example, snapshotting as a death knight, that I'll get into in a little bit. So first of all, I want to read the entire blue post for the beta itself. They're talking about known issues in the beta, as well as what type of content is currently available in the beta itself. So let's just have a look at the blue post and then I'll get into everything that I've been testing out on the beta so far. Welcome to the Wrath of the Lich King Classic beta. The team has been working hard to get Northrend ready for you to jump in and begin your adventures, and we are excited to have you join us. Over the coming weeks we will post notes and updates in this forum with each new update to the beta. So the current build we have, which started yesterday, includes level cap 76, and the focus for testing right now is questing and the level up experience, so leveling up from level 70 to level 76. You can create pre-made characters on the beta that they are pre-made level 70s, or you can copy over your existing TBC characters. You're also meant to test out Northrend zones, dungeons, new spells, talents and abilities, the Death Knight starting experience, and we have a couple of new systems and features, for example the revamped group finder, which I actually think is quite fantastic. You have vehicles, quest facing, glyphs and inscription, and to facilitate glyph testing, a glyph vendor has been placed in Dalaran near the inscription building, so you can go and purchase glyphs. For the first week of beta, we are capping leveling to level 76, and add-on usage is also prohibited as usual with any beta. We will raise the level cap to 80 and allow flying in Northrend, and open up to level 80 heroic dungeons for testing, and allow dungeons in the coming weeks. One of the major areas that we would like feedback on is the functionality of the newly revamped group finder tool. You can find a deep dive of information about the tool right here, and I will talk about this later in the video as well. Please put it through its paces and let us know what you think. As this is a beta, there are some systems and features that are not fully implemented, and there are many bugs present. Below you will find a selection of known issues that you are likely to encounter that may impact your gameplay, so these are known issues. So if you see anyone streaming the game or playing the game or making videos about the game, these are issues you don't really need to talk about because Blizzard knows about them and they are known issues. As always, we would encourage you to use the in-game bug reporter on screen or default hotkey F6 to send us information about any bugs or other issues that you encounter. So here are the known issues within the general tab. Mana and energy regeneration are not functioning properly. These systems are usable, but they have some display bugs and other functionality issues that are inauthentic to the original Wrath of the Lich King. Crews are not spawning on transports, which can block the completion of certain quests. The Argent tournament grounds in Icecrown are currently under deconstruction and are a work in progress with multiple misplaced objects and missing terrain, so that could be another reason why they're capping leveling at level 76, so you're not really supposed to go to Icecrown anyway. Exiting a vehicle may rarely cause you to become disconnected. This one's kind of annoying. The vendors and vendor inventory in Dalaran are not yet configured correctly and contain items from later content tiers, okay? An interface error will occur when inspecting another character. Many NPCs in Orgrimmar are spawning slightly below ground level. Horde and Alliance Death Knights are not properly put in separate phases in the Death Knight starting experience. So for items that increase haste rating are not increasing spell haste. An interface error will occur when attempting to open the socketing interface on an item with a prismatic socket. Item tooltips sometimes show the equip bonus text in the incorrect location and format. As for questing, the Battle for the Ender City, part of the Wrathgate questline in Dragonblight, has multiple progression blocking issues currently. We encourage you to please check back on this quest in a future build if you reach the questline. So for something that affects the classes, for Death Knights, some races of Death Knights are missing their spooky voices. After spending a rune, the subsequent charge begins partially completed. Death runes do not currently function properly, and Risen Ally is not able to properly use its abilities. For Hunters, Autoshot will not properly fire during the Steady Shot cast. The Beast Mastery talent does not grant 4 additional pet talent points currently. the lock and load talent proc does not really currently trigger from Freezing Arrow or Freezing Trap. The pet talent Wolverine Bite does not function properly and is usable without landing a critical hit when first learned, and finally a Warp Stalker's warp ability can sometimes crash the client. For Warlocks, Warlock Pet stats are scaling from Warlocks incorrectly and are too powerful. Wow, okay, so I should go play a Warlock then on the beta. Chaos Bolts are not currently piercing absorbs or partial immunities. For Shamans, Feral Spirits occasionally do not properly engage hostile targets. And lastly, for Paladins, Sacred Cleansing does not currently increase the target's resistance to diseases, magic or poisons, and Greater Blessing of Sanctuary cannot be self-cast. So with all of this said, what have I been testing on the beta? Well, the first thing, you spawn in Stormwind, so I thought before I go to Northrend I want to check out the one thing that I'm interested in Stormwind itself, and that is the Barbershop. So I went to the Barbershop, and the barber is there, the Barbershop is active, or the Barbershop building is there, everything looks like it's supposed to be. The barber is active, but when you sit down in the chair, nothing happens, and you're basically just floating in the middle of the air, and nothing really happens. But then again, this is a minor issue, but it's worth talking about and worth reporting on the beta, so they know about it and they can fix this. After that, I went to Northrend to do some quests and have some fun, and test out some things at the same time, so let's check that out. Okay, so as I got to Northrend, the first thing I tested was obviously questing, because, well, you start out doing some quests anyway. So I went out, did a couple of quests, and the first thing I noticed was that the original quest helper was not currently in the beta. I don't know if this is intentional or if they're just holding back, but here's the thing. I talked about this in a previous video when I talked about the quest helper in Wrath of the Lich King. This came with the last patch, or patch 3.3.0 in OG Wrath, so it could be that they are not intending to implement this for the launch of Wrath Classic, but maybe they will implement it later in Wrath Classic. But it could also just be that they are not focusing on that right now in the beta, but they will add it later. So we'll have to wait and see, and look for future updates on the beta when it comes to that one. I will also say that it's been a long time since I actually played Wrath of the Lich King and leveled up by doing quests and so on, so without that built-in quest helper and without any add-ons whatsoever, I'm kinda stuck and I'm just doing the quests that I know how to do and just slowly progressing forwards. It's kinda fun though, just going in completely blind and doing the quests. I've always done them from the Horde side when it comes to leveling up, so doing it as Alliance is a completely new experience for me, and yeah, it's gonna take some time getting used to, and finding out exactly where to go. I also just want to do a real quick shout out that now that we are in the Wrath Classic beta, I will be updating the Wrath of the Lich King Gold Guide with multiple updates when it comes to gold farms, professions and so on. A lot of my updates were waiting for the beta, so I can confirm how things work on the Classic client, so there will be lots of updates coming, and right now, throughout the rest of this week, you can get that guide for 60% off instead of the usual 50%, and to get it for 60% off, you can use the code WRATH. This one will be active throughout this week, so go and check it out through the link down below. The next thing that I checked out on the beta was one of the things that they asked for in the post itself, and that is the group finder. I must say that as a person that was originally hoping for a random dungeon finder to be in the game, I am pleasantly surprised with what they are doing right now with this group finder. It is very easy to use. You can select your roles, you can list yourself as a group. It is very easy to use. You can look for exactly what you want. You can look for dungeons, heroic dungeons, raids, custom activities. You can search for specific dungeons or just search for all of them, and it's so easy to find the group that you want. And you can also see the roles inside the group. You can see the tank, the DPS or the healer, and what they are looking for. It is very easy to use. I am pleasantly surprised and it works great, so this could actually be a good thing. It's basically the random dungeon finder, but without those bonus rewards from joining a random group and without teleporting to the dungeon. And one of the things that when you are joining a group, you can whisper the leader or you can request an invite. So the thing here is that obviously you should send a message first to just tell something about yourself, talk about your experience, your gear or whatever, and then you can request an invite afterwards. Okay, so the final thing that I tested on the Wrath Classic beta has to do with the raiding, to be honest, and it's Death Knight Snapshotting. It's kinda difficult to do on the beta right now, because, well, you either have to bring your own character, and I don't have a Death Knight, nobody has a Death Knight to copy over, because we don't have those on TBC Classic right now. We will get them with the pre-patch, but you can create a pre-made level 70 Death Knight character, but that comes with very specific trinkets and specific items and weapons and so on, so you can't really pick and choose what you want. But when you create a level 70 pre-made Death Knight, you do get a trinket that can increase your haste, so you can test out haste, but then again there's no timestamps and there's no add-ons in the game, so once again that is kind of difficult. But there is one trinket that increases your attack power, so what you can do is fish for that trinket to proc, and then use the trinket, and then you can test out if that trinket affects your gargoyle's damage after the effect wears out. So that is what I've tested, and here are my results. I'm going to be playing some footage in the background so you can check it out for yourself, but without using the trinket whatsoever. My gargoyle usually hit for 628 up to 700 nature damage with the gargoyle strike, and the melee damage was usually between 160 to 170 with a regular melee damage. So those are the numbers. I'll pop them on the screen right now to compare as well, but when I popped the gargoyle without having this trinket active, that was the damage output consistently. I pulled multiple mobs with this and tried it out consistently. Those are the numbers. And from one of the clips you can also see that I popped my gargoyle, then the trinket procced. So the gargoyle's damage is not based on your current procs during that time, it's based on a snapshot of your character the moment you use the gargoyle, because when my trinket popped after I summoned my gargoyle, the damage did not go up at all. It was still 170 for melee swings and roughly 600 and something to 700 with the gargoyle strike. That being said, when I popped my gargoyle when I had 2 seconds left of this buff, my gargoyle's damage went up significantly, and let's just have a look at how that gargoyle reacted when my trinket was off, but I popped my gargoyle before the trinket wore off. So gargoyle strike now hits for 857 and 845, 835, it's consistently over 800 all the time, while before this it was 600 to 700 somewhere. Now it's always 800 plus. And the melee swings now also hit for 187 up to 192, so basically it's gone up by quite a bit for both the melee swings and the gargoyle strikes, and that is when my trinket is not active during this time, but it was active the moment I popped my gargoyle. So based on my initial testing here, which might be some bad testing, but hey, it's what I can do right now with my skill and the current version of the beta, it looks like the gargoyle works as if it's taking a snapshot of your character the second you pop it, and it will keep those stats for the remainder, or for as long as it's active. And I think that is really useful information for anyone who wants to play a Death Knight in Wrath of the Lich King, and to be honest, even Warlocks as well, as Snapshotting is active for Warlocks too, so yeah. Snapshotting looks like it's currently working the way it's usually been working on a lot of different servers, and this is how it works on the beta, as of my testing at least. Hopefully you liked the video. That is all I could do right now for this one. We're probably going to be testing quite a bit during the beta. I'm mostly focusing on gold farming and professions and so on, also the leveling experience and just finding bugs in the game itself. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know down below in the comments if there's anything specific you want me to test out, and leave a like on the video just before you leave. Also, subscribe to the channel for more Wrath Classic content. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again very soon.